This is Pam Electric Ghost, and this episode is Come Down Low, Expression Through Expansive Sound. We are a hardware synth DAWless recording artist. We use hardware synths, like analog and digital, along with hardware recording devices like the Zoom R16 and R24, and mixers like the Roland MX1 Performance Mixer. So what we like to do a lot of times is do live performances on Instagram or Facebook Live, and then from those live sessions, pull out the snippets or the pieces of work that actually could be worked on as songs. We use our hardware synths like members of the band. We are a one-person band, and we rely on a lot of sequencers and analog capabilities such as multiple low-frequency oscillators or LFOs, and using controlled voltage modulation techniques to create analog-based clips or sequences or loops, along with our sequencers that we have on a Moog Mother 32 has a 32-step sequencer. We have a BeatStep Pro, which has massive amount of capability because you can take 16-step sequences and then stack them together, up to 16 of them chain patterned, which create song structures. And we use like our analog drum machine from Moog, the DFAM, which only has 8 steps, but then we can extend it by using the Make Noise Morphogene, which is a sampler. We can use the CV out to change the rhythm of that, or we can take the Mother 32, or we could take our grandmother, which has a 256-step sequencer. And our Roland Performance Mixer actually has a 16-step effect sequencer. So with all these different sequencers, we can do what you call polyrhythmic songcraft, where we can take multiple rhythms from these sequencers and then sync them together and have varied polyrhythmic beats. And we like to play with different tonal qualities that are coming from our analog and digital synths. Our primary polysynth is a Juno GI. One of the cool features of the Juno GI is that it has partials, kind of like a D50. You have partial tones, you get up to 4 tones to make a sound. It has an extensive Boss effect system, which allow it to recreate through its PCM sample-based structure. It can recreate guitars and pianos pretty well, and also strings. So we liked using the capability of this synth to do a lot of guitar-focused work on it. We do pads with it. We do a lot of piano with it. We use the Moogs, particularly we like to use the Mother 32 and the Grandmother for bass lines. And we like to use the DFAM for percussive synth. We've also got an Arturia Mini Brute 2S that we use for atmospheric and rhythmic use. The Mini Brute 2S is just as good as the DFAM in creating interesting drum beats. And it has a very powerful sequencer that can allow you to do all kinds of interesting sequencing on it with the gate and pitch. It can do interesting sequences plus 2 alternative sequence patterns that you can control by the patch bay. Additionally, we have a Roland JDXI that we use with the Arturia BeatStep Pro to create rhythm. It can extend the native drum machine in the JDXI, which has an 808, has a 909, has a 727, 606. It's got a lot of classic Roland drum machines in it. But if you just use the JDXI, you're limited to like a 4-bar pattern. If you extend it out to a BeatStep Pro, you can do the chain patterns up to 16 patterns of 16 steps each. So that can give you a really big capability. We like to use it live to extend the JDXI. In addition, we use the JDXI to take in the supernatural sounds that are in it and bring them to life through the BeatStep Pro. And using the pad method, we can do interesting non-keyboard type of pattern set composition. So And we also have an OPZ from Teenage Engineering, which we've used to actually great effect. We have an album called The Flower Blooms at Midnight in the Tomb. It's on Amazon.com. You can get the CD there. So if you go to Amazon.com, type in Phantom Electric Ghost, and you'll see there's 4 CDs out there. And the last one we did was The Flower Blooms at Midnight in the Tomb. We've got the first one that we did back in 2017, Something Wicked. Our second CD, Indigo Menace, and Synesthesia Neo Soul Surrender. These are all available on CD. So if you want to support us, that's a good deal. We get $5 off of every $10 record. Additionally, if you hit the PayPal Me link, you can support us there, or you can hit our primary website, which is phantomelectricghost.com. So HTTPS phantomelectricghost.com. You can book us for shows. We're doing online shows. You can also check out our PayPal Me there and support the band. You can contact us and send us a message. And if you want to be on the show, you go to phantomelectricghost.com, send us through to contact us, send us a message, give us your Instagram username or your Facebook username for a direct message. We have a couple options for podcast where we interview individual artists. We've been interviewing people since 2018. We have 25,000 listeners worldwide. We're on 11 podcast platforms, including Spotify, which Anchor is part of, and Apple, Radio Public, Stitcher, Overcast, many more. We do free podcasts for the audio on Anchor FM. We are doing a new thing with StreamYard where we can do a live video podcast that's streamed to one of our 4 Facebook channels. We have Phantom Electric Ghost and a couple other channels on Facebook. We could also stream live to YouTube, our channel. We can give you the raw WAV file and MP4 file. We can give you the link to the Facebook because it'll become a permanent link out there after the show. And again, unlike the Anchor FM, it's live, so your fans can see it right when we broadcast. And it will be converted to an audio podcast as well. Not immediately. It will take like an hour or two. And the same night, you'll get 11 podcasts on these platforms, including Apple and Spotify. Now, that's $25 because of the extra work we have to do. It also is available on YouTube once we get that file. Within a day, we can get it on YouTube. So you've got a couple of things. If you go with the $25 option, we'll do our traditional audio podcast, and then we can do the video podcast. We can, and depending on the quality, if you want to do like a higher quality audio podcast only, we can do a separate booking. And for $25, we will do the interview twice. Or if you feel satisfied with the video interview, we'll just take the video interview and use that as the source for the audio. But because you're paying $25, we do give you the option of doing a second interview to be audio only versus and then we do the video one and then we do the audio one. So it gives you 2 chances to create an interesting podcast. So please check that out in this time where you can't tour. The podcast option is pretty cool. Be able to get in front of your fans in an audio version or a video version. We think we've got the best price in the market for this, for the video. You check that out. There's people who are doing it, but we've been doing this for over 2 years. We got 25,000 listeners. We've interviewed bands like Kendra Black, who's done a song with Snoop Dogg, Jess Davis, who's on the Netflix show Punisher, Marvel property. And we've interviewed Kendra Erica, a Billboard top 10 pop singer, as long as many independent bands from around the world. So just check it out, and you'll see that we've been supporting the indie community during this COVID crisis. And you've got options. You don't have to use the paid option, but it would be cool if you could support us through that. That would help us out greatly. Again, in this, when we get back to the songs, we have a song called Reckless Rare Earth Girls. And Josephine Electric is my alter ego. I create her with vocoder or vocal transformation. It's really more vocal transformation because the people that think about vocoders, they think about auto-tune. We don't use our vocoders to do auto-tune. We use our vocal transformers from Roland, the one that's inside the JDXI the VT3, which is monophonic, and then the VT4, which is polyphonic. We use this vocoder to change our tone in real time, which creates the character of Josephine Electric, which is basically my deep voice being pitched to a soprano pitch, and then other effects like formant and other capabilities are inside these vocoders, along with capabilities within the MX1 performance mixer and some other things that we do, which allow us to create a character. And we play her like a method actor. And her character is that she is a ghost, that she died when she was in her mid-20s, but she never made it out of this world. She's in limbo. And then her sister also passed away, and she was a musician. And then she runs into the ghost producer, Phantom Electric Ghost, and he asked her to join the band as the lead singer of the band. And Phantom is the producer, keyboardist, general overall song crafter. And then Josephine writes the lyrics, and she is the lead performer, along with the backup singer of her sister, Stephanie, the Windover Girls. And there's a couple of songs on our third album, Synesthesia Neo Soul Surrender, that talk about the Windover Girls. Josephine's last name is Windover. And so it's like Josephine, Windover, and Stephanie Ann Windover, the Windover Girls. And there's a song called Windover Girls on top if you check out our album on Amazon.com. Now, because her character has been this, she's a ghost, but she can be material too. So when she's in the band, she kind of switches to a more mortal form, and people can touch her and people can interact with her, and they don't really know she's a ghost. And she is a dominatrix, kind of sex-obsessed character, but she has this melancholy in her because of her situation of not being able to pass to the next life. So she uses sex as a substitution for her frustration, and then she gets into all these, maybe codependent or bad relationships, and then she sometimes, feels like she's free, but then she realized that her sexuality is not keeping her free; it's kind of keeping her trapped, like her state of being a ghost. So this is the kind of dichotomy of the situation that her character's in. And we actually had created her character in a science fiction book that we did in our mid-20s called September. And we just released a rock opera called September on SoundCloud, so you might check it out. It's got a basic idea of her character. Is she was in the science fiction story, she was the character September, and then I kind of changed her to be Josephine when I created the band. So Reckless Rare Earth Girls is talking about her kind of reckless nature of being this kind of sex-obsessed character, and what the consequences of that are. And then to Come Down Low is her talking about the dark corners of that kind of sex-obsessed world and how you can get caught up in all types of addiction, chemical, sexual, physical. And what's interesting in this song is using a lot of capabilities of the Mother 32, which has a very good pulse modulation circuit. It's got good low pass and high pass filters, and it's got a tone that's different than our grandmother. We've got three modes. In the Moog Mother 32, sometimes you can make the Moog Mother 32 has one oscillator. You can make it sound like it has three. And it's just very powerful, and it has a tone that cuts through any audio mix. It's a very good deal for anybody checking out a monosynth because of its 32-step sequencer. We've been using it since 2016. It's been showing up on our albums, and we continually find different ways to use it. Right now, we're integrating it with the DFAM, which is the drummer from another mother, and that the DFAM doesn't have MIDI, but when you have a Mother 32, you can take the capabilities of the DFAM and then import them into the Mother 32, and then control the signal through a MIDI keyboard like our Juno through the Mother 32. So the cool thing about modular synths is that some of them don't have MIDI, but if you have something like a Mother 32, which does have the MIDI capability, you can then route through controlled voltage, which is the wiring on these modular synths, which allows you to override the workflow on a subtractive synthesis machine. which is the old school kind of New York based or East Coast based of synthesis, versus the additive synthesis, which is the Buchla form of synthesis, which is more based on not doing like the left to right workflow of a subtractive synth where you can kind of go anywhere you want. It's got a more innovative structure. You can see that kind of in the Make Noise has a couple products that replicate that kind of capability, and there are replications of Buchla machines out there that have that additive synthesis capability. We have found that our Make Noise math module can allow us to get into additive synthesis when we combine it with some of our other synths. When you combine it with like the modular synths from Arturia, like our Mini Boot 2S and our Mother 32 and DFAM grandmother, if you play with the control voltage and you read up on synthesis concepts, you can get some of these subtractive things to do additive synthesis if you have a control module like a math utility module. And then additionally, having like a sampler like the Morphogene sampler from Make Noise, you can get into granular synthesis, which is pretty cool. Is another thing that we'll get into one day. But we are very excited for these songs. And we've also included a theme song called the Peg Theme, which is at the beginning and the end of this episode. And we're going to start using that on all of our stuff from now on. They give it a like intro and outro. Again, we also get into like what we think of synths that are out there. We think in terms of innovative synthesizers that are really cool is the binaural polysynth from UDO called the Super 6, which is a homage or an homage to Roland's great synths like the Juno 106 and the Juno 60 and the Jupiter 6 and Jupiter 8s. But it's coming from this British company. Binaural means that it has true stereo oscillators. Now, some synthesizers say they're stereo, but they don't start at the oscillator. They start at the filters. They go to the VCAs or the envelope generators might be stereo, but the oscillators themselves are not. It's rare in that's actually a thing anymore. And so the UDO has gotten this idea that it's binaural. Like I believe it's a 12-voice synthesizer, and it can be a 6-voice synthesizer where it gets this really super sound, like a super saw concept. And it has an interesting what we like to call is knob per function workflow on it, where there's no menu diving, there's no LED, there's no touch screen, everything's a dial or switch, which is in analog synths is very common because that's how it's easier to control because you've got all these clear control capabilities, and then you can kind of rewrite it by overriding it through control voltage wiring. But the Super 6 is a really good synth. We've got a different sound than any other synth we've heard. The other synth that we're very interested in, some people have been denigrating, is the Jupiter X, which is a kind of modern version of the System 8, which was Roland's analog behavioral modeling synth, which could replicate a Jupiter 8. It could replicate a Juno 60, a 106, an SH101. But what they've done, the System 8 was only 8-voice. What they've done now with this new Zencore engine that's in the Phantom and in a Jupiter X is they can have up to 256 notes of polyphony on the behavioral modeling engine. So when it replicates a Jupiter 8, it can then, not just be an 8-voice synth. You can stack Jupiter 8s up to I don't know what the limit is, but I know it has 256 voices of polyphony. So theoretically, you should be able to stack it up. I don't know. I've heard people say they can stack, 2 or 4 Jupiters on top of each other. I think maybe it's limited to 32 when you're doing that. But it has unlimited polyphony because it has an RD piano. Now, the RD piano is on the Jupiter X and on the Phantom. Now, the one thing that the Phantom doesn't seem to be able to do is it doesn't have the behavioral modeling capability that the Jupiter X has natively. It can do it to a certain degree, but it doesn't have specific engines other than the RD piano. I think it just got the Supernatural engine, but it doesn't, right now, it doesn't have like a Jupiter 8 option or 106 or SH101. So the Jupiter X what's cool about it is it's got the same workflow that the original Jupiter X had. It's hefty. It looks like it. Now, a lot of people have complained that it's not analog. And one thing that's really interesting is that's one of their premier analog synths, and it doesn't have the analog filter that the Phantom has. So you're like, why would you put out a Jupiter 8 or Jupiter X and not put the analog filter that you have in a Phantom and not put it into a Jupiter? It seems like a big oversight. Because I think a lot of people would have been really psyched if it had some analog options in it. Not that this new Zencore engine isn't cool, because it can do things that the analog can't. You can stack a Jupiter 8, you can mix a 106 with a Jupiter, you have a polyphonic SH101, and you can mix like an RD piano with a Jupiter 8, which you can't really do anywhere else. So you can't really complain about that. But it would have been cool if they put the analog filter on it like they do on the Phantom. So if you're a songwriter and you like to do DAWless recording, the Jupiter X is kind of a conundrum. It has the cool arpeggio, but it doesn't really have the sequencer that the Phantom has. So to me, as a songwriter, I would probably go with the Phantom because it has a better workflow, in my opinion, than the Chord Kronos. Even though it's a brand new Kronos 2 today, I'm going to look at it on the web and see how it stacks up. I just like the Roland workflow on the Phantom is really interesting. It has a clip-based workflow. It's got the TR recording capability. It's got a really interesting step sequencer. It's got a real-time capability. It's got this unlimited kind of mode where you can just start projects and just intuitively get into stuff and then control your DAW. You can just send everything to the DAW. Or you can mix everything on the workstation itself and then just maybe master it on the DAW or master it using something else like SoundCloud. We've been using SoundCloud mastering. We use Landau, we use Beautiful Audio. So there's other things we like to use. But it just gives you the ability to do a lot of cool integration. It's got really good CV integration. It's got a lot of USB ports on it. So it can be the central hub, even if you're like an analog guy. And it has the analog filter capability, where it mimics like a Prophet filter. It mimics like a Roland classic filters from like the Jupiter and a Moog filter. So it's got this really, I don't know if it has, I think it has a bandpass filter too. So it just gives you a lot of capabilities. And that we're kind of torn between that. And then if we get into real analog, we've got a grandmother and we always wanted a matriarch. So in the best of all worlds, we'd want a matriarch because we like, the grandmother, and the matriarch is just even more than the grandmother because it's actually paraphonic, up to 4 notes. The other cool stuff that we think is more doable is the Moog Subharmonicon, which allows you to do polyrhythmic and subharmonics. That's what that synth can do. It's somewhat like the Trautonium from the 30s and the Rhythmicon combined. It's a real cool innovative system that allows you to, by feel, but what you hear is what you get. So you can play with the idea of doing subharmonics and polyrhythms by feel rather than on a grid. You do it by how it sounds, and what you hear is what you get. So we're very interested in that, and we think the other cool thing is the update from Arturia of the Arturia Key Step Pro, which is like a Beat Step Pro on steroids. It's fully polyphonic. It has scene-based, clip-based. It has a really good keyboard, and it can control analog and digital gear, and it can be the new central. We've been using the Beat Step Pro for many years. It's a really good live tool for an artist that wants to be a one-person show. We think that the Key Step Pro at around $300 is even a better option, and it can link to things like the Phantom. It can link to like the Subharmonicon. When you link it to the Subharmonicon, you can get a really cool 6-voice analog synth being controlled with a keyboard. So we think that's a really awesome tool. We probably still use our Beat Step Pro because of the pads. When we do drum programming, we like the pads. So we try to integrate it into our operation. So we hope that you like this episode. We kind of rambled on, but we'll talk to you later. And again, check out all of our links. And if you want to be on the show, send us a voice memo with your user name from Instagram or Facebook. Be safe out there, wear a mask, and practice social distancing.
No, in this crazy world, you don't want to play with an electric girl. Stand in the corner with a flag of fur. Give it all to this come on girl. Touch my rare earth. You know you're joining a reckless flirt. Now I know you don't have words. Now you don't want to get burned. You know the judges of reckless flirt. No flags on the fur. The con touches rare earth. Don't you want to feel my electric curve? No, I'm not just jabbing, come on, girl. Sit on the corner with your flag on furl. You wanna get off my electric curls? You know it's a dangerous world. Touch the electric girl. Touch her red earth. I'm a dangerous flirt. Don't you wanna get hurt? Yeah, this is a trip, you know there's no relief. This is just another trick tease. And you can come now if you please. I don't care if he or she. I don't care if he is free. I could be your pushing but you dirty me. I could be everything you see me unseen. You come on to me. You dare be discreet. Come on to me. Don't you dare be discreet. I could be your Adam and your Eve. Starting out now, but get on your knees. Please. God, please. Turn me. Get off the street. Get down on me. I'm come on, queen. I won't do that, I please. I do what I need. Right now, I need you to please. I need you to please. Oh, me. I could be a dirty Russian bot. Dirty mean, just breathe on me. Off the street, you get what I need. I could be a dirty Russian bot. You dirty mean. I'm a calm down queen. Calm down queen. Dirty Russian bot, dirty me. Everything you see is unseen. You know goddamn well I can't be discreet. You know goddamn well I can't be unseen. You know I will never be discreet. Did I ask you to take your leave? Go get down on your knees, get ready to bleed. Get down on your knees, get ready to submit to a queen. The chosen ones to see you bleed. Bleed. Just got you off the street. Submit to me. Come on to me. Submit to me. Come on to me. Got you off the street. Come on to me. Just got you off the street. Come on to me. Bleed on me. You bleed on me. You bleed, please. Get on your knees. Come on to me. You act like you don't know why the chariot of gold is coming down low. If they take you home, you act like you don't know why the chariot of gold is coming down low. If they carry you home, it's an overdose. So over your soul, what you put up your nose, only the Lord knows. Why your body's cold? You don't know why you never grow old. Never go home. That chariot of gold, and you're not that old. You're not that old. You act like you don't know, and you're not that old. Why the chariot of gold? You're gonna swing down low. If they're coming for your soul, and you're not so old, and your mind's so blown, and you're never going home. And the overdose, it's a whole go, and you're not alone, and you're not too grown. And you crawl alone, your skin and bone, in a chariot of gold, gonna take you home. There's too much blow up your nose, in a chariot of gold, is all you ever know. All you ever know, 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 all you ever know. Yeah, that chariot of gold, and a blow up your nose, is all you ever know. All you ever know. All you ever know. The chariot of gold, they're coming for your soul. Don't over your nose with all that blow, and you're so cold, but you're not that old. And should've known that the chariot of gold is your ride home. Your ride home. I should've known that the chariot of gold is your ride home. I should've known that the chariot of gold is your ride home. All that blow, Up your nose, up your nose, up your nose, up your nose. Couldn't leave it alone, couldn't leave it alone, baby. Yeah, so it's not that old, and I tell you, if you're right home, I should know, I should know, yeah, life would be all blown. I should know that your life was all blown, and the chariot gold was your ride home. I should know that your life was all blown, and chariot gold was your ride home. I should have known your life was blown, and a chariot gold was your ride home.